I am Tom Blair. I serve as Missouri Department of Transportation's District Engineer here in the St. Louis District. This is Work Zone Awareness Week. This is the week that state departments of transportation across the nation remind everyone that work zones are going to increase in number. We also remind everyone this is the time to be aware of them and so that you can drive safely through them. I stand here today on the Missouri's largest transportation project, the improvements occurring on I-270 in North St. Louis County. This project has many impacts scheduled in 2021 for motorists. In addition to this, I'm going to talk about many other projects that we have in the St. Louis region. But first I want to focus on the pandemic. During the pandemic, our MoDOT employees and our contractors continued to provide essential services. We continued to repair roadways, we continued to repair bridges, remove snow from the roadways, do all those essential services that you rely on us to do to take care of your transportation system throughout 2020. When I look at 2020, we did see a decrease in traffic volumes, but unfortunately we saw an increase in traffic speeds and driver distraction. That led to a record number of traffic crashes in our work zones. In the St. Louis region alone, we had 800 traffic crashes on state routes as well as local routes. 800 traffic crashes in work zones. When I dissect that a little bit further, we had in 2020, we had 30 times that motorists ran into our big yellow trucks while we were out there doing work, while we were out there patching potholes, sweeping the roadways. Those big yellow trucks were equipped with traffic cushions, traffic attenuator cushions that lessen the impacts. They were also equipped with additional bright lights and a rear-facing audible horn that we use when we see motorists that are approaching us that obviously aren't paying attention to try to mitigate that crash from occurring or lessen the impact. 30 times in 2020. That's more than we've ever seen before. That's all of that. Those 800 crashes in work zones and those 30 truck-mounted attenuator crashes, all of those were preventable. What we're seeing is not only speed and distraction I mentioned earlier, but improper lane usage. We're seeing driving too close. We're seeing failure to yield to each other. Those are contributing factors that every one of us can mitigate. We can make sure that doesn't happen when we're driving, when our family and our loved ones are not driving. And please take that action. Take this Work Zone Awareness Week as an opportunity for you to communicate that, to take that pledge to yourself that I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to get through all the work zones safely in 2021. Now, when I look forward beyond this project, we have many projects in the St. Louis region occurring. We have notably a resurfacing of Interstate 55 from the city limits down to Lindbergh. We have continued work going on the Merrimack River at 44 and 270 in southwest St. Louis County. We have work going on St. Charles Rock Road, on Page Avenue. We have lots of sidewalk work going on, as well as resurfacing work going on throughout the St. Louis region. I encourage everyone, if you want to know the details, go to modot.org. You can click on the map there for the St. Louis icon and learn all about our work zones. But if you want real-time information, you can also go to modot.org to get to the traveler information map. That has real-time information about all of the roadways and the work zones that we have in the state of Missouri. It's a great app to have on your phone so that you can actually check before you get out on the road. As I wrap this up, I want to remind you that this Work Zone Awareness Week is an opportunity for you to be reminded of all the increasing work zones that are out there, and for you to sort of take that pledge to yourself to pay attention when you're driving, to buckle up when you're in the vehicle, and to definitely put down that phone if you're actually out there driving a vehicle. So thank you for all you do to make 2021 a safe and healthy year for everyone.
Hi everyone, I'm Laura Rensing with the Illinois Department of Transportation over here in Collinsville, Illinois. April is a time of year for DOTs across the nation to put an extra focus on work zone safety and awareness. And it's a really important time for us here at IDOT because the weather is nice, winter is over, and we're getting out there, we're starting construction projects and really getting started on a lot of our infrastructure improvements. But it also gives us an opportunity to look back and to see where we could do things differently. Last year, 37 work zone deaths occurred in Illinois, and that included 2 workers. That is unacceptable. We all must do better. So from now until next winter, we're going to have a lot of construction projects underway. We're going to have maintenance activities and construction activities across Illinois, and we're going to have a lot of work zones. So it's really important for us to focus on what do we need to do in a work zone to try to keep us safe. Work zones can be really frustrating. We all know that. We come across a work zone and we weren't expecting it and we get irritated. But we have to understand that a work zone is necessary. We have to get a work zone in place in order to keep our workers safe as we try to rebuild the infrastructure of Illinois. And it also means that we are, providing an economic growth for our state, and that's a good thing. But we also have to be careful as we approach these work zones. Those 37 lives that were lost last year were people just like you and me. They had families and friends that loved them. And unfortunately, a lot of those work zone deaths are caused by inattentive driving, and that is 100% preventable. I'm here today to remind us all that safety in work zones is everyone's responsibility. So let's spread the word to our friends and family that we need to slow down and pay attention as we approach a work zone. Speed is often the root cause of those work zone crashes, and again, that's 100% preventable. We also need to pay attention to our young drivers. Our young drivers, this may be the first construction season that they've ever been in. This might be the first time that they ever encounter a work zone. So we have to do our part to make sure that they're prepared. Let's talk to our young drivers and talk to them about some things that they need to do to be alert and be prepared when they encounter a work zone. In the Metro East, we have a couple large projects already underway. Many of you have probably already driven through the Poplar Street Bridge complex recently. We've got lane closures in that area, and we will have work zones in place in that area until fall. We also have a big project out on I-70 just east of I-55 in Madison County, and we'll have work zones in place there all summer long as well. At IDOT, we are doing our part to make Illinois roads as safe as ever, but it's really everyone's responsibility. One of the things that we're doing is we're employing smart work zone technology on many of our interstate projects, and that means that we have sensors out there that are providing real-time traffic information to drivers. In fact, on the I-70 project out in Madison County, next month we will be employing, in specific areas along the project, we will be employing a specific smart work zone system that's going to let drivers know what to do when traffic volumes change. So as the traffic patterns change, those message boards might be telling drivers to either stay in their lane, or they might be telling drivers to merge over. And that will change from the time of day or the time of week. So this is a good technology for us to use. We're excited about it. It should help reduce the queuing, and it should help reduce the speed differential, thereby reducing the potential for crashes. But even with that technology, again, we all have to do our part. Driving through work zones requires everyone's undivided attention. That means that we have to put the phones down. I cannot stress that enough. We have to put our phones down, especially as we're approaching a work zone. Also, we need to obey the construction signs and obey the speed limits approaching that work zone. And be courteous. Recognize that all vehicles might not be the same. So some of those larger vehicles may take a little longer to stop, and we need to be aware of that and plan ahead for that. And also remain alert. Make sure that as you're approaching that work zone and you're driving through that work zone, you're constantly looking around and being ready for changing conditions. These common sense rules are meant to save your life. 90% of work zone deaths are not workers. That means they're drivers like you and me, just trying to get from point A to point B. This is 100% preventable. This is a team effort for all of us. Here at IDOT, we are doing our part. We are asking you to do your part. Please drive smart. Thank you so much and have a great construction season.
Hi, I'm Toenjes, president of AGC in Missouri. Now that we're all back on the road, it's Highway Work Zone Safety Week. Let's remember a few things. Work zones need your undivided attention. That means no texting, no phoning, slow down. Most accidents are caused by going too fast in the work zone. And as you approach a work zone, follow the signs. The electronic message boards, the stationary signs, those are all posted to provide indicators for you to how to get through the work zone safely. They're all there for your safety as well as those of the workers. Our construction workers are dedicated to working safe. They're all trained to work safe, but we all need to work together, especially the drivers as they come through the work zones. Workers operating a piece of heavy equipment are not there to be injured. They're there to get a job done. There are loads of hazards to contend with on the road. There may be 8 to 10 inch drop off on the side of the road. There may be water pouring off a bridge as concrete is being cured onto your vehicle. Unfortunately, more often than not, it's not a construction related issue, but it's a driver going too fast through the work zone and not paying attention. We all know whose life is on the line. It's not just the worker, it's the driver, it's the family, it's the passengers in the vehicle, it's all the mothers, fathers, daughters, sons. All those people are impacted when people don't pay attention in a work zone. Just as in the pandemic, if we all work together on this, we can all get to where we want to get to and have 0 accidents and 0 injuries in our work zones in Missouri. That's a win-win for everybody. Just remember these simple things as you enter a work zone. Slow down and follow the posted signs. It takes you 1.3 minutes to go 1 mile and 45 miles an hour. It takes 50 seconds to go the same distance if you're going 70. That 28-second differential can save a life of a worker or of you. Just drive safely during work zone week and every week. Follow the signs, slow down, work safe, and we can all work together to save lives.
Spring and summer brings good weather, and with that comes road construction. Crews are working hard to improve Missouri roadways. Please watch for work zone areas and be patient as you drive through. Preliminary statistics indicate 27 people were killed and 661 were injured within construction zones in 2020. These crashes were preventable. Always be vigilant when you're driving, but especially in highway construction zones. Keep in mind the roadway may be narrowed to accommodate the work zone. Speed limits are lowered in construction zones for a reason. Please slow down and pay attention when entering these work zones. When lanes are narrowed, drivers have less room to react to the vehicles in front of them or slow down if they stop suddenly. Obeying the construction zone speed limit just isn't smart, it's the law. If signs and workers are present inside the work zone, an additional $250 will be added to your fine. Remember, road crews are out working hard to make our roads safer. Let's make their jobs a little easier by keeping them safe, by slowing down and obeying all traffic laws.
My name is Trooper Josh Korando, and I'm with the Illinois State Police. With summer fast approaching, the road construction season will be in high gear. That means public safety on the highways is our top priority, and we're reminding motorists to be vigilant while driving. The majority of work zone crashes occur as a result of drivers not paying attention to the roadway. Drivers can easily be distracted when their hands are not on the wheel. Work zone crashes can be avoided by staying alert and watching for changing traffic patterns. Drivers need to focus on the task at hand. The ISP, in partnership with the Illinois Department of Transportation, is committed to work zone safety, the safety of our officers, the safety of IDOT workers, and the safety of every driver on state roadways. The Move Over Law, also known as Scott's Law, is supposed to protect first responders, construction zone workers, and all motorists when they are traveling on Illinois highways. The Move Over Law is clear and mandates that when any vehicle approaches a police or other authorized emergency vehicle stopped along the roadway, the passing vehicle must reduce speed, change lanes if possible, and proceed with due caution. This law, as of January 2017, also includes motorists on the shoulder with their hazard lights on. When approaching flashing lights, move over. Speeding in a work zone is a serious offense and has tragic consequences. Work zone speed limits are set to protect the lives of construction zone workers and motorists passing through. ISP troopers will be on the roads and will be working alongside highway workers to identify motorists who disobey work zone speed limits and other laws. The minimum fine for a first offense in a work zone is $375. A second offense results in a 90-day driver's license suspension and a $1,000 fine. So our message is clear to motorists. Slow down when entering a work zone and move over when approaching emergency personnel and flashing lights. Follow the rules of the road and avoid fines, jail time, and tragic circumstances. Those workers in the construction zone are everything to somebody. Please don't be the reason that they don't make it home. Slow down and move over.
We were out on 170 and 70 out behind the airport, and we had taken out a lane for road repair. I was sitting in the TMA. I was the first thing the traffic saw, you know, on the site where I was sitting, and I took a hit. I don't remember taking the hit. I remember what we were doing. We were hot patching stuff, you know, on the road, but I don't remember taking the hit. It was a big truck that hit me, that sideswiped me actually, and they crushed in the cab where I was sitting on the truck, pinned me in the truck, and it broke my pelvis and pushed all my innards around. I was in ICU for over 200 days, and I was in the hospital for over a year totally. And I came home, it happened on October 28th of 2009. I came home for the first time on November the 10th of 10. The TMA, we were protecting the crew ahead of me. From what I understand and from what we were talked about afterwards, if I wouldn't have been where I was at, we could have killed about 5 guys. So it saved a bunch of lives somehow. It's just the way we were set up, you know, and it's a real busy intersection right there anyway, you know, where everything all kind of comes together. But in when I took my hit, my head didn't get hurt and my legs didn't really get hurt bad. My hips did, and, you know, my middle parts. But my glasses were found up in the truck way ahead of me. I don't know how they got up there. You know, so we took a pretty good hit, whatever it was. But I was the only one that got injured out of the whole incident. And I look at it, that was my job for that day. I was running the protective equipment for that day. That was my job for the day.
My name is Josie Beard. My late husband, Dennis Beard, was killed in 2012 on the side of the interstate while he was setting up a work zone, and he was struck by a driver who was driving under the influence and was not paying attention. He was setting up a work zone along with other workers. A few of them were struck. Dennis was killed. It will be 9 years ago next month. At the time, we had 3 small children. They were 11, 8, and 4, which 2 of them are here with me today. They were small at the time. It was the first day of summer break, the day after school got out. Dennis left for work early that morning, and at 9 o'clock that morning I was getting a phone call with the devastating news that Dennis had been in a bad accident and was being transported by helicopter to the hospital. That morning changed our lives forever. We had always talked about, Dennis had talked about the risks of being on the side of the interstate and how dangerous it was, and he was always conscious of the safety for his other workers, and he was always looking out for them. He was always worried about it, and it was always on his mind. Never thought it would happen to him. And on that day, it did. He passed away, and changed our lives. We had to find a new way to live after that day. It took him away from us, and we had to learn a new way to live after that. The kids were little, and it was just very devastating for all of us. But it was all because of someone not paying attention driving through a work zone that day. April is Work Zone Safety Awareness Month, and that's very important to all of us as a family, because it's a time for us to bring back Dennis's memory and to try to bring awareness to everyone out there that gets behind the wheel and drives. We want to try to make sure that none of this happens to anyone else. There's all of those workers out there on the interstate, have family or friends or loved ones that they want to return home to. So we just want to remind everyone that it just takes time to slow down and move over whenever you see a work zone.